A very good evening from Super League HQ on what is the final night of the regular season, and the drama has not ended. As we said all the way along, it was going to go to the final game, and it most certainly has. Good evening to everyone in the chat. I can see Steve, I can see Scott, Greavesy, Alf, Mr. Edwards and Swanee all already commented. I am pleased to say that for the final night, I have not got one guest star, but I have got two. So first of all, a very good evening and congratulations to Mr. Lee Dimble of Churchtown, who got his cue last time out. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Cheers, mate. That one man clapping on a stream sounds really sarcastic, but thank you very much. I know you actually mean it.
I do actually mean it, as you know by the very generous messages I sent after the stream on Thursday night. I was delighted for you, as per the sort of semi-sarky post I put out from the Super League Twitter the other day about everyone saying the Super League's great, but it's just the same teams, and then Dudley and Churchtown this year just like hold my beer. You know, for me, it's been great to see what you and Steve have done to gate crash the top six this year. So congratulations for that. Yeah,
it's added a bit extra interest into it, and I think it's more other people tripping up a little bit. And we've just been myself. Steve's been excellent. Myself, I've just been okay, solid, done a decent job. But I think the fall off of some of the other managers has really helped me out. So thank you to all the people that have been shit.
But you're I mean, I don't mind just having a quick look at this now. Your recent form over the last few weeks, basically, since you brought in Brugge and Salas, you've been almost relentless.
Yeah, the form has been sensational. I think 12 games, I've got something like 24 points since Brugge and Salas came in. So they've definitely helped. Although I wouldn't say the completely vital. I think it's having a little bit of a different edge to me going forward. And obviously Hussein's
Hussein as
taking it personally, the Salah signing, and he's decided to go on an absolute run, which is very good to see.
And you are not the only one joining me tonight. If ever there was someone with the experience to guide the free managers looking for sixth place and then to talk to those in the playoffs about what it takes to win it, it's two-time winner Ryan Aldred. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fife. Evening, Dimble. Evening, Super League. Hope everyone is well.
Welcome back to the studio, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Long time. This is the first in 27 shows it will be, or 26 shows.
I think, did you not feature on one of the very early shows this year?
No, I've not been on a single one this season. Right? I've not been invited, pal.
It's an open invite every week. You know that. We know that you've been carrying a little bit of a knock. I hope you're okay and you're match fit to get through tonight's episode. And on the same subject, obviously everyone at CMSL sends their best wishes to Maka as well with everything he's going through. Just seeing in the chat, since I said my hellos, Jens is here, Hodgie's here, and Duggan as well. Good evening to you, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I posted earlier, guys, the fixture list with the hope that we don't get any ghost games. So if you guys are happy to go, then let's start with Astor versus Northern Burn.
Let's go.
Big game.
We'll look at the home side first, and Tato, looking to keep the entertainment up in this essentially nothing game, has gone one at the back for this fixture. And he's even allowed John Dow Thomason another run out in the Super League. Dimbo, I will come to you first. Astor started the season really well. Everyone was talking them up as the top six gate crashers this year, and Tato was going to get manager of the year. It's not quite panned out that way, but the last few games he's tried to mix it up again and be interesting, and that's very much his way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice for myself to be so many points clear of manager of the year, which is a nice little twist on the season. No, Tato's a good manager. He's kind of fell off a cliff, but he has got some pretty iffy players. But he has got some players that do a very good job. I'd be interested to see what happens with this formation. It shouldn't work. It's a bit kind of legal wib-wobby with the amount of kind of arrows in between and the amount of people in the box and around the box. And then he'll be hoping that Scally and Goodjohnson can tackle everything that comes near them and give Hencho a decently quiet night.
Well, you made you made a very good point in that opening statement there. He's got players that play very well, and you mentioned Neil Scally. He is certainly one of them. He, at times this season, has been sensational.
Yeah, he's just a tackle machine. He's a pretty fucking basic footballer. I know he can pass a little bit.
He's a
very, very basic footballer. He just stack pads over his tackles and gets good ratings, which is fine. Every team needs one, but unfortunately, Tato's not got that player near him that can kind of create from the middle. So you can't just have a team of tacklers, which Tato's found out this season.
And in fairness, looking at this formation, there's been times where previously he's played the two centre-backs with one DM, but that midfield three has been largely tackling-based midfielders. But he's gone for a lot more attack-minded creativity this time, Ryan.
Yeah. I remember Matt Tato earlier on in the season. He was dishing out advice because he was second in the league. And like, Jesus, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Attack-minded players, Boamarte, he's done all right, and he's a bit of a crap player. Look at that. I mean, Fulchester having a bad season, but Jesus Christ, that's nothing like that. Everton got beat 4-0 as well, so let's not fail to give that a mention.
That's after Frank Lampard broke his hand celebrating a 99th minute winner on whatever night it was as well.
Yeah, Dimble kind of said it's a bit of a myth team, isn't it? He's got Chonsu, Rayad, Neil Scally, those players, even David Day, really, players who were nothing in real life, barely existed in real life, and they've been given some decent stats and some decent intrinsic values on what you call it, and also to say the illegal word on Chapman. Yeah, I was saying before, it's not a Super League team. It's the Super League team got sold in its first couple of seasons of this, so fair play to Tato to kind of plodding on with it and trying to get the best out of them, which it seemed like for a while he would do. I can see you put up on screen there, had the better Northern Burn in this league, but yeah, it's he's doing well to be where he is, considering the players he's got, and I say that knowing he's 12.
Good evening, Mr. Savage, who has also joined the chat. As for Northern Burn, an interesting, in my opinion, approach by Ian. He's taken this as a nothing game, even though, he's not going to finish any lower than 5th. He could finish as high as 3rd. He's currently in 4th. 4th's probably a bit lower than most expected Northern Burn to finish this year. But he is taking the opportunity to potentially rest a few players. I mean, you'll notice from the squad that there's no sort of absentees through injury or suspension, but there's no Cannavaro, there's no Hoffland, there's no Vieira, there's no Keane. It's kind of a second string. The only players really that play regular is obviously Toldo in goal and Sigalko, who's still chasing the Golden Boot, Dimble.
Yeah, it's kind of a B team with Toldo and Sigalko. Obviously, Toldo's been very, very solid for him, so there's no need to rest him, I suppose. And Sigalko's still going for the Golden Boot, so that's probably why he plays. But yeah, Ian's kind of experienced in these post-season playoff runs, so he probably knows that a rest won't do him any harm. Sometimes it kind of resets things. If you try in different formation and go back to one that works, it can come back that bit of a reset in the game type thing. And you got to realise he's got his tactic. It's called defrag, so maybe that's what his thinking is. I'll play this pretty shit formation, might get a result, and then when I go back to my good formation, things will be flowing again. Yeah, so yeah, it's an interesting approach. It's something that I've also kind of considered, but in the situation I was in where my match mattered to the opposition and other people, I thought I best just kind of go with the same or strong tactic, if you like. So yeah, it's something that crossed my mind.
To interject, I mean, Fifey, I'm just looking back of an old Devils team that you used to have. Did you once kind of romp the league, or you did really well in the league, and then
I've never romped the league.
But I think you got a queue early, or you were set, and then all of a sudden you put the reserves out, and you lost your form, and then couldn't get that form back. I think that definitely that springs to mind when I see this team.
He did. The one thing with Burn is Burn have been a bit dodgy of late recently, so
that's
it's
exactly what I was going to say. So,
but yeah, I do agree. It could go wrong. Definitely could go wrong.
Burns' form has been, by their standards, atrocious. I mean, it's no wins in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No wins in 6.
Yeah.
It's pretty shit, isn't it? And Ian will be worried about that. He's probably, at the minute, he's probably not expecting anything from the season, I imagine. He's probably just thinking it's going to peter out, but it could help him. You never know.
Well, let's be honest. With the exception of our guest in the studio, Mr. Aldred, no one's managed to defend a Super League title.
That is true.
Why'd I have to say that?
It's always worth saying. Thankfully, the first game is not a ghost game. So, for the final time this season, we will see Astor Athletic in competitive action. Ryan, have you got a match prediction, please?
Jesus, I mean, it's who's worst, isn't it? I think there's going to be goals in this, considering the one at the back from Astor. Plus, they look like the stronger team on paper, which, considering that Astor team, is sort of saying something. I'm probably going to go 3-2 Astor.
Okay. And Mr. Dimble?
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. I think it's going to be a home win with goals, so 2-1, I'm going to say.
Okay, well, let's kick this one off and see if Northern Burn can end the season and go into the playoffs in something that resembles form. As Sigalko has started very quickly, 3 minutes in, he has given the away side the lead. Astor coming forward, and Michael Owen levels things up on 8 minutes. A very quick start to this game. 1-1 already, and here they come again, Astor. Sorry, Ryan.
No, sorry, just me. I'll tell you I'll tell you an issue I'm getting at halftime.
Okay, no worries. Well, Guerrero, who's leading the side tonight, has made it 2-1 to the away side, but Michael Owen scores again to make it 2-2. Ryan, you could have been undershooting it at 3-2 with your prediction. Looking at this, it's 3-2 at half time, but the other way, Sigalko has scored again for Northern Burn, and here come Astor looking to make it 3-3 before the break. No, the referee calls an end to proceedings. 5 goals in that first half, and it's the away side that go in with the advantage. Dimble, that was relentless from both teams, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Ryan's probably part to say the same thing as I did, but it's just kind of a bit sketchy. You can only see like the odd screenshot, the odd commentary in a minute, but it looked like it was end to end from what I did see, and the stats back that up, don't they? Look at that. It's pretty much, apart from tackles and headers, it's very, very, very even.
Tato already putting in the chat that this is class. It's certainly good entertainment for the neutral.
We all know Tato loves goals, so at least he's backing it up for once.
Let's have a look at the home side's stats first then, Ryan. Unsurprisingly, Michael Owen, top rating after his 2 goals, and a big contribution from him. But shots being shared round by the Astor team as well. It's not like they're relying solely on Michael Owen to potentially do anything in this game.
Yeah, Michael Owen, Ballon d'Or winner, sleeping giant in the game. I mean, every now and again he comes apart.
You always say this.
He honestly, I'm one of his biggest fans on home save, but he never really did it in the Super League. I really pushed for him at Fulchester, didn't get there. In the end, had to kind of bow to a little bit of pressure and let him go. It looks like a bad deal now, really, because Hippie has been shocking for Fulchester. Michael Owen having a great first half there. The difference in this is the goalkeepers, really. David Day on a 6, I imagine Toldo's on a 7. Good game to watch, but as Dimble's already alluded to, I'm getting I can see the comments on my YouTube on my other screen, but that's way behind what your commentary is, and I'm getting that 1 out of 6 text flashes on the actual game, which I don't know if is there something to do with the screen rate you can change on Zoom or something? I don't know.
I'm not sure, because the last time I had this was when there was 2 people on as well. I don't know if it happens when there's more than one person on with me, potentially, because the last couple I haven't had any issues. I will certainly look into that as the game's playing out. Greavesy's saying, terrible defending, it makes me sick. And Steve's accusing Tato of gifting Sigalko the golden boot. Already making a couple of changes. Emerson off. Emerson off for Donovan. And JDT for Zizi. Super League favourite Zizi Roberts coming on at half-time for the home side. As for Northern Burn, you were right, Ryan. Toldo rating a 7, but Kovac rating a 5. Has he even appeared yet this season, or is this No, this is his first senior appearance of the season, and clearly lacking match sharpness.
Yeah, definitely. He's probably not played in the Super League for a reason, really. He's not really at that level on the game. But Ian's doing what Ian's doing. He's putting out a reserve team to kind of hopefully kickstart some of his players for the later round. I no doubt we won't see many of these players again. The two that we will see again, or maybe even the three, should I say, Maxim Cizalco, Francesco Toldo, and probably even Julian Guerrero. They're the three that we'll probably see in the playoffs. Maybe Youngberg might come on as a sub, as every now and again he does. But yeah, they're the three that are having the effects. It's a shame that Astor can't do a little bit more damage when you're looking at that defensive line. I suppose they have scored twice. Just got, yeah, you can't stop Maxim, can you? I don't know. Not really much to add there, really. So,
we are going to see the introduction of the out-of-league signing of Sunwa, who's, he's playing more for Nigeria's under-21s than he is for Northern Bern this year since he was signed, mainly because of the former Scalco. But he is coming on for Henrik Larsson at half-time to see if he can grab a goal. Doug and Barca smashing Madrid 4-0 with 35 still to play, if anyone's asked. Good to know that Spanish football's at its peak. Let's kick off the second half. Dim, were you expecting more goals in this one?
I imagine so, yeah. With the one at the back and Tagalco running riot, you can see him getting 3 or 4, can't you?
Let's see if he continues to boost his numbers. And a quick early start. CZ Roberts, Michael Owen all getting involved. Lee Chun-So, Donovan. Astor are looking for goals themselves, looking to level this up and finish the season on a high. Oh, it hits the bar, approaching the hour mark now. Still, all the attacking names for Astor very much involved. And there is the equal. Oh, it's been disallowed. Chun-So was offside. Rossini had scored. And it was a deserved goal by the balance of play. We're going to slow this one down. And it's Rossini with another header. Seems to be his forte in the last few games, is getting up in the air and winning those headers. Something that Tato has commented on a lot previously. Free kick, fine save by Toldo, and another one by the Northern Bern skipper. And Good Johnson skipper. Guerrero's skippering, but the goalkeeper putting in a fine performance for Northern Bern. 10 minutes now to go. Good save by Day. But here come Northern Bern again, looking to wrap it up. And it's Guerrero. And it goes out for a corner. Excuse me. And someone pushed with an attempt, but it's pushed away. Astor coming forward again. Out of interest, are you seeing more when the commentary slowed down?
I think so, yeah. It looks like it.
Yeah, when it's slow, it's on fast. It seems like it's pretty much normal, but okay. It's just yeah.
And Rossini levels it up on 88 minutes. He gets the goal that Astor have deserved, and we move into injury time. There's the full-time whistle, and it finishes Astor Athletic 3, Northern Bern 3. And wow, look at the amount of attempts Astor have had in that game, Dimble.
Yeah, that's a barrage, isn't it? And the back four couldn't handle it in the end. I think that's a deserved point. Obviously, he deserves a point at least, looking at those attempts. And it also gives me a chance to sneak above Ian as well with a win. So actually, that keeps the interest for me as well. Yeah, it's really, really kind of strong attacking performance from Astor. Rossini's one I like, and I almost took a punt on him. I had a conversation with Scott where I could have brought him in, but I wasn't willing to pay his price at the time. But he's definitely a striker I'm kind of interested in for the future.
Interesting. Well, let's have a look at how he performed there specifically. High rating for this game after his goal. Decent shot on target percentage as well. Got involved with passing. He won all of his aerial duels as well, so you can see why you would be interested. Michael Owen getting man of the match. We spoke about Neil Scally as well, Ryan pre-match. Looking at the ratings, really, everyone, including the substitutes, have come on and made an impact. It's a very good team performance by Astor.
Yeah, it's just amazing that David Day's got the 8 after conceding the 3 in the first half. Yeah, you can't fault it. He went balls out with the formation, wanted to try and get some goals in. He's got 3 goals. He's got a point against Northern Bern. Probably would have liked all 3. yeah, but you probably can't blame any of the players. You probably got to blame the one at the back formation for that rather than any of the players.
And we look over then, Dimble, at Northern Burn. As you say, you now stand the chance of leapfrogging them in the table when your fixtures played. That's now 7 without a win going into the playoffs, and it's looking less and less likely that, you wouldn't write anything off, but we've always said the importance of finishing in the top 2. We knew they couldn't do that anyway, but going in this sort of form is not going to do Burn any favours in the playoffs.
You'd imagine not. Yeah, it's one of them situations where it's difficult to see how they can turn it around, but you do know that they can. So you wouldn't, like I say, you wouldn't write it off. Potentially got a playoff game against them soon. I don't think they move above Bostock with that game. So if I were to finish 3rd or 4th or 5th, I would be playing them. So yeah, it's not one I look forward to playing Burn. I've only ever done well against them once, and that was recently. But before that, I've been absolutely atrocious. Never even managed to land a punch on them. So yeah, not a game I would look forward to, even though they are in poor form. Yeah, it's been interesting what Ian does. I imagine he'll go back to normal. He knows the tactic will work with the good players he has. So yeah, I mean, I hope he fails miserably, to be honest now.
And Ryan, a word on Ricardo Gardner's abject performance tonight?
He just went up for it, where you can see that he's in that reserve squad when he should be in the first squad, and he's giving the manager the finger.
Well, congratulations to both managers on an entertaining first game of the night. I think the performance suits Astor better. It means they end the season on a bit of a high. Northern Burn have the playoffs to contend with now. And that means we move on. Loco Dudley's fine for second game. Ryan, you've had a lot to say in the past on Dudley, but they have officially finished second in the table this season. And they're also putting out a strong squad for the last game to try and maintain their form going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, do you mean Dudley Hill? They've always had it in them, and I can point back. I think I can point back very specifically to the catalyst to what actually what changed things for Dudley Hill. I don't know if you want to go into Dudley Hill's fixtures.
Possibly the last one from last season.
The last game from last season.
This friendly.
It's like this friendly, yeah. When they had someone come in, rip the fucking doors off the lockers, give them a proper bollocking, put a decent formation out, have a bit of a fucking tell them to go out there, have a laugh, and they put in the best performance of their careers, right? And then he left. I must have left my notes there. The manager must have left his notes there because everything out of the fucking Phoenix playbook has been used this season by Dudley Hill, and guess where he's got him? Up to second in the league. Where did Phoenix finish in the 2 seasons in the Super League? Second and second. So let's hope he can. Let's hope he can replicate Bolton Phoenix and go from second and get the star and the badge. Because anything less than that, and then Steve's a failure.
Well, I think since Mr. Edwards won it as, the people's champ last time out, I think no one would begrudge Steve winning it this time. So let's have a look then at the team that he has put out. And we have to mention Luca Toni, who, I know the stats up on the screen as well, but let's bring it up on the big screen. So he, going into tonight, was level on goals with Sigalko. Now we know he's scored 2 tonight, so Tony's going to have to work very hard to win the Golden Boot. Ryan, do the playoff goals count, or do we cap it after 26? Do you remember?
Playoff goals count, yeah. It's all part of the league. It's not. Do you mean? It's not the top 6's fault that the others didn't qualify. You know what I mean? It's the full season. So yeah, and Tony and Tizalco are both going to be in the postseason as well. Hopefully Crespo won't. But Steve's had a good season. Luca Toni, Saviola making a good partnership. Luca Toni, I think he's surprised a few people, including his own manager. This might be a step too far, overtaking Tizalco after the 28, 29 games, whatever it might be. But if he gets to the final and Northern Burn go out after in the first bit of playoffs, then yeah, Luca Toni all the way.
Dudley do find themselves currently top of the form table as well. Last time out, they had the entertaining win over Leddersford, where Saviola was on the score sheet, but Tony wasn't. They don't have a great record, though. Only one win on this save over Lokomotiv Boston. They have, however, drawn the last two. So Loco don't always have it all their own way. I'll let Dimble in on this point.
It's been a tricky game for Dudley, this one, by the looks of it. He's not won there for a long time, has he? Well, once in the last kind of 3 seasons. Just go back to Dudley. How do you think the Steve Wright effect affected the Fulchester dressing room after he managed him for that one game?
Mate, I think they were haunted, weren't they?
Certainly had a lingering effect, hasn't it?
They were like, Jesus Christ, it can get this bad. They've been playing with fear all season.
Fear that you're going to let him come back.
Yeah, fear that they might put him in the redraft. No, Steve deserves all the credit that he's been getting recently. The Saviola transfer was one that when he told me he was about to pull the trigger on it, I wasn't sure, because he's obviously he was having success with 2 AMCs. And this would mean going to 2 strikers, and we all know it's more difficult to get 2 strikers working. So it's one of them Steve transfers I thought was going to go wrong, if I'm being honest. But Saviola has been absolutely class, and Tony's been better with him alongside him as well. So again, Steve deserves the credit. I'm surprised he's not giving Finn a run out, just because it might be the last game he ever has him. You never know. So I'd like to have seen him play, but yeah, he's to be credit to him, he's gone out strong, hasn't he? He's gone out as strong as he can with the players available, even though it doesn't mean anything.
And Maldini and Zanoni suspended for this one, but other than that, they're at full strength. Ryan, Loco, Greasy's mixed it up again. He's gone for the season end formation, something a bit more Super League traditional, if you like. He is someone who, similar to yourself in a way, has lived, particularly in the chat off screen, lived off past glories. Why has it gone so terribly wrong for Loco, do you think?
Definitely I'm not fucking letting that one slide, Fife. I don't live off past glories, mate.
Well, not only is he a former champion, but now he's not even been close to making the top 6 this year.
Yeah, he didn't go back and do it again, though, did he? I'm I'm sorry, but I mean that's to be called out. I mean, Greaves is a good manager. Do you mean he had this kind of philosophy, this Catenaccio philosophy, which he kind of stuck to. Then all of a sudden he was getting called out for not scoring enough goals, so he'd go silly and put 6 up front or whatever stupid like that, and then maybe not 6 up front. But it's you mean he needs to stick to his guns? He needs to stick to his game plan. I think he's a manager who's been very poor in the market. If I'm being honest, I think he's gone and looked at Rivaldo and Seedorf and Scholes, and he's looked at the names and thought, yeah, these are big players. These are players that'll do a job for me. Same with Figo as well. But he's not necessarily looked at Super League history when it comes to Rivaldo, Seedorf, Figo, Scholes, and those players have come in, which on transfers that you do in the game, you think, oh, I've done all right there, but when you're a season champ player, which I know Greaves is, I don't think the transfers that have worked for him. So, I mean, unless Montella gets fired in a game and Lokomotiv Boston often look quite lost, which, I mean, Montella has been hit and miss, mainly missed this season. Therefore, that kind of is where Lokomotiv Boston are. And, I mean, it's not a good enough team without him scoring.
No. One thing that has interested me, Dimble, and as someone who's had a decent track record with keepers since you've come in, a lot of was made when Barthez left, but Perusi's come in and actually done a fairly decent job.
He has, yeah. Perusi's been fine. He's been absolutely fine, solid, reliable, good ratings. He's not been a problem since Barthez has left, but the problem with the problem people have with that transfer is that he didn't need Rio Ferdinand either, because he had 2 defenders that were doing pretty well, 1 defender that was very good, and a couple that could fill in. So it didn't really make sense to kind of the rest of the league. obviously Greavesy had a plan to use 3 of them, and Ferdinand's played defensive midfielder as well. So yeah, it was just an odd one in terms of balance of the squad. But yeah, Peruzzi's been absolutely fine and a bit surprising to me. I wouldn't have expected him to be as good as he has been. But Greavesy was right on that front at least.
Dimble, sticking with you, have you got a score prediction for this one?
Yeah, I'm going away win 2-1, like I have done most of the season with 2-1s, and I am top of the predictions league. So
is that all you do? You just keep sending Swan 2-1 for every game?
The second half of the season, it's been pretty much 2-1s or 1-1s. Yeah, that's kind of what I've done. And it doesn't work out every week, but it's worked out on the main.
Okay, Ryan?
I've got 1 apiece.
1 apiece. I will start it on very fast again through the first half. We'll see where we are and slow it down again. Form is temporary, class is permanent. I'm sure it is, Greavesy, and I'm sure you will be like a phoenix to the flame and come back stronger from this experience of being average. Dudley Hill starting quickest in this game, but certainly not the excitement of the first game. You guys might think you've missed a lot as we're already at 31 minutes, but actually nothing's happened other than Montella missing a penalty on 33 minutes. The home side with the perfect chance to take the lead, failing to take it. Dudley Hill looking to score one before half-time, but no, it has actually flown by. Very little's happened, and it's ended 0-0 at half-time. Let's have a look at what the penalty was for. Montella used his feet well. Addo tackled and knocked him to the ground. A penalty was awarded. Very weak penalty, in my opinion. You could see by comparison to the first game, Ryan, not the excitement we had. Both teams creating a couple of chances, but nothing much to write home about.
Yeah, pretty weak. Kick-off second half, mate. Not much to say there, is there really? Missed penalty. Get on with
it. Quick look then, Dimble, at Locomotive stats. Few players pick up decent numbers, but it's the usual suspects. Ryan mentioned if Montella's not firing, then Loco aren't, and he's putting in an average performance. Seedorf is very much in the Zidane mould, seemingly, of never really getting above a 6, or very rarely. Scholl's not really having an impact either. Even Zambrotta's being quiet.
Yeah, he's got a few of those players that have got the high reputation in real life and not particularly on the game. And Ryan mentioned it earlier. I think Greaves is kind of, he's got ability, but his ego has kind of said, I'll get something out of them. And it's not quite working for him, is it? Zambrotta, I'm surprised to see. He's been pretty average all season, very low kind of assist rates, but one I'm a big fan of. And I would be looking to bring him in if I can.
There's the one change at halftime with Figo coming on for Seedorf, so that's very much like for like in terms of big name, average Super League performer, in my opinion.
Yep.
Ryan, look at Dudley Pezzoli pulling in an 8 performance, decent from him. Sergio, on the other hand, at the other end of the scale, a 5 at half time, which is possibly a bit harsh considering he's got a high pass completion rate. It's probably more to do with the fact he's only attempted 1 tackle and not completed it.
Yeah, he's your typical kind of Spanish style midfielder. He's more Fabregas than Busquets, isn't he? Not the best in terms of breaking up play from Boston, but let's be honest, he's not had much play to break up. A bit of a meh first half from both teams, really. I don't think there's too much to write home about, nor would I be. I mean, it's a nothing game, is it? So I probably won't be changing too much either.
Well, Steve is bringing Danielson on at halftime for Sergio, just to change it up, maybe offer a bit more creativity.
The Sergio playing centre midfield tonight is such a Steve last season kind of move. He's just like throw Sergio. I know he's got his players missing, so that's why he's done it. But Steve would throw the odd Sergio or Basidas or who else would I think of? Sergio Conceição or someone like that. He's got a habit of throwing these players in, thinking they're going to do well, and they don't usually. So that him sticking to his kind of 11 this season has been the reason he's done so well, I'd say.
Well, let's kick off the second half and see if we can get a bit more excitement. We're already at the hour mark and nothing happened. I mean, I'm loath to slow it down due to lack of entertainment, but as the game is in the balance, I will do, and it might mean you two can actually see some commentary. Ramelo's been sent off for pushing Danielson over. I imagine Greavesy's just going to move Petit over.
You probably imagine wrong. I imagine he'll take Montella off and put an extra day in and
to defend the draw. We'll give.
Would it surprise you, really? Would it surprise
It wouldn't
you?
surprise me if he did it, if I'm honest. No, anyone else would just move Petit over, but Greavesy, you're right. No, he's just going Manu centre. So we carry on as we are. 15 minutes to go. Ryan, are we going to get a winner in this game?
No.
No, it's just that bad. Here goes Figo dribbling on his own. Figo doing everything, but it's cleared for a corner. And Kaladze manages to get it clear. And Saviola misses the target with his attempt as we gracefully move into the final 10 minutes.
Are we pronouncing Kaladze's first name? Are we saying Kaheba?
Luca Toni scored. Well, while Dimble decides how he's going to answer that question, Luca Toni has scored for Dudley Hill, and he's not giving up on this golden boot just yet. Go on, Dimble. How are you pronouncing it?
Has he got an extra? Is it Kahaba or is it Kahaba? I can't remember.
Luis Figo scored on 88 minutes.
I was his manager for a full season. I still don't know.
Answers on a postcard. Phonetically put in the chat how you're pronouncing Kaladze's first name, please. The final whistle has gone. All the drama happened as soon as Ryan asked the question. Montella missed the penalty. Ramlo got sent off, and then 2 goals. Luca Toni and Figo scoring to mean this game ended 1-1. Jesus, that was an average last game of the season, wasn't it? Very little chances created by both sides, Ryan.
Yeah, pretty poor. Not what Greavesy wanted to sign off on. He'll hopefully just stick one over on Steve, just for trying to end the season on a high, especially being at home. But yeah, looked like he could have nicked one. Then they had the red card. Then looked like he was going to get beat. 1-1's probably a fair result. Luis Figo, I think, off the bench, wasn't it? He got that one there. Yeah, so another frustrating evening, but I got a prediction right there, so there we are.
Zambrotta, we mentioned him I suggested at half-time Dimble had been quiet. He ended up getting man of the match for his performance. As Ryan pointed out, Figo scoring off the bench. You know, the manager always takes the credit when substitutions work. The suspension isn't really going to mean anything because Loco haven't made the playoffs. So just kind of a mere way for them to sign off.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you'd been happier is if it was a 1-0. Or I think he'd been all right with a 0-0 as well, but it's not a good season for Greavesy, and it's a bit of a similar ending. Very, very average, well below average. But in terms of Steve, it's another goal for Luca. It's another game unbeaten. It's not a bad one to kind of end the season on from his point of view. Yeah, it's Kachaba.
Is that second K? Like, did you pronounce that?
I don't know.
I think I'm going to sting with like Kaheba or
Silent K.
Kaheba Kaladze.
Did it not get like shortened to like Kaka Kaladze though?
I don't know. Jens is just asking you go onto Hools and find him. I don't know. You find the manager.
You mentioned Luca Toni scored again, Dimble, and Steve now going into the playoffs completely different. I said about Northern Burn. Steve's now going into it 10 games without defeat.
Yeah, and I know what Steve will say. He's kind of, you look at it and you think you're due a defeat, but I think a draw is a good result for him. It's not. Yeah, they've played within themselves. They've got a point. Like I say, Lucas scored, so I think he'd be very happy with that. As long as Kachaba and Eric haven't got a suspension as a result of those 2 yellow cards, he'd be very, very happy.
I look forward to seeing what Steve does in the playoffs. I'm sure the content on social media will be just as entertaining as the team's performances on the pitch. There was one more, wasn't there, before we wanted to go into Dragons? Who was the other one? Leddersford Devils next up. So let's talk Leddersford, Ryan. And Alf changing it up again, just missing out on the playoffs themselves. He's gone back to kind of his more traditional formation. The thing that stood out for me when I was putting this together for him was he's put Dan Anderson back in for his third appearance in this sort of central midfield role with the attacking arrow.
Yeah, it's 271 on speed with all the arrows, isn't it? Dan Anderson's an interesting choice in that midfield. Yeah, it depends really. I mean, Pat Ugly used to do wonders there on the Mega Horse, didn't he? I don't know how much. You don't really play too much since Mega Horse has left. I don't think.
No.
Go back to the screen, wait a minute. Yeah, I think it's a team that's basically built around getting Van Nistelrooy and Ronaldinho scoring goals and just try and keep it as tight as possible. And for the rest of the lads, it's a classic 2-7-1. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really too much to add there, really. It's a solid team. I can see how they can win some weeks. I can see how they can get breaking down other weeks. I think it's Wes Brown's solid at the back. I like Paredes. I like Ambrosini. A lot of players I like in there. Exaberia, big fan of.
Yep.
Two weak points, I'd say. Probably Sergi Seamat, probably not a star in SL. And as you already mentioned, Dan Anderson. Beyond that, it's a really solid team. But I mean, how often have we said about solid teams in the Super League and they get so far?
Yeah.
You need that X factor to get the entire way.
You make a very valid point. I know me and you have both been vocal in the past, even when, like say, when Mega Horse was here, about Wes Brown should be playing more. So I've been happy to see him getting a bit more of a regular run out with Alf. Unsurprisingly, Devils have a good record against Ledisford, only the one defeat over the course of the of this whole save. But good luck to Alf in this one. As for Devils, they're still without Aymar, still without Mpenza. But other than that, they go pretty much full strength. They're able to partner Montero and Nesta together again as centre-back. Oliveira continues in defensive midfield with Van Bronckhorst. Makoku replaces Ferguson for this one. And Kesman continues to deputise up front, Dimble.
Yeah, is Ferguson fit and available? He's just been rested, has he? Is that right?
He is available. I think it's just because of the yellow card.
Cool. Yeah, no, apart from that, it's full strength as it can get for him. And it surprised me the points tally he had. I know he's wanting to break the record, but it surprised me that he stuck with so many of his stars playing over the last kind of 5-6 games. I'd have been tempted to kind of rotate it a little bit, but he's worked out in the fact he's got the record he wanted. He's hitting the playoffs in good form, and I mean I don't need to talk about the team. It is very, very good, very good. I'm a big fan of Makalko as well, so seeing him in that centre mid role, I think he's going to be very good at this point in the save. So it'd be just to see if he does any good tonight. And the rest of it, it's just really, really good.
Just on a personal note, before we go to kick off, then Dimble, the fact that Hodgie pointed your team out personally and said you're the ones he doesn't want to meet at any point in the playoffs, that must boost your ego somewhat.
Oh yeah, I've taken 6 points off in this season, which is unthinkable, really. I mean, I played well in both matches, so I can't say I didn't deserve it, but it's just I can't see if I had to play them over another 2 legs or one off. I can't see me doing it again, if you know what I mean. But There's always a chance. I've got a tactic or two in the bag that might be able to beat it. So why not? Yeah.
Score prediction, Ryan?
0-0.
0-0. Dimble?
Alf's got at least 1 too many arrows. I'd say probably 3 too many arrows on that formation. So I would say Devils will pick up high. It's probably going to be 3-1.
3-1. I think 3-1 is actually what I've put in Swan's prediction for this one as well, potentially. Let's find out. And there is the one for Ledisford. No, St-Mac's goal's been disallowed. It was a very quick start from them, and they continue to come forward looking to score against Devils and take the lead. 25 currently on the clock. And it's still very Ledisford dominated. It would seem Ambrosini picking up a yellow card there. Devils just starting to play their way into it a little bit as we head towards half-time. Is there going to be a goal before the whistle? There should have been a goal before the whistle. Ledisford failed to convert. The whistle goes, and it's 0-0. Ledisford have never only had 1 shot on goal in that half. I mean, you two will probably say that the text commentary was a bit blippy for you, but I've definitely seen more than 1 attempt by Ledisford there.
You might have done, mate, but we didn't see fuck all.
We did. Now, Megos has got a theory that headers don't count as shots for some reason, and that might be a point. I don't know. But yeah, from what I saw, Ledisford looked very, very dangerous, but they've not really troubled them in the end, have they? So Devils doing what they do, really.
It would appear not. Let's have a look then, Ryan, at what they're doing. And the man you picked out, Wes Brown, performing very well in that first half.
Yes. Yeah, I was just going to say that he's been 12 out of 15 tackles, won 8 of them key is incredible. He's had a really, really good first half. He'll be shutting down Kesman. Christian Kivu's done pretty well as well. 5 out of 8 tackles, won, couple of them key. Just not really getting the balls up to the strikers, are they? Van Nistelrooy barely been involved, no shots. Same with Ronaldinho, he's been involved in the left. And Dan Anderson, stats might be great, Steve, but I mean, he's let's be honest, he's shit, and he shouldn't be in the Super League. So I'd take him off. I'd get someone interesting on. Let's do something. Let's revolutionise.
Well, let's click over so Haji can have a look at his stats. Kieran Dyer, the highest rated player at halftime. Harry Kewell, it's an interesting one with Harry Kewell because he's in the attacking position, Dimble, and getting very low ratings. His pass completions only 50%. He does seem to perform better when allowed to play that sort of left wing back role.
Yeah, I kind of started saying that, and then I stopped. Kewell's been a bit disappointing when he's played further forward. So, I agree completely with that. He looked a bit lost at AM, which is strange considering
that's where
what a good player he is, and Bolton Phoenix legend, isn't he? I know. Did you trade him for Alex, or was it the way around? Can't remember.
I got Harry Kewell for Alex. Sold Alex to Ian. No, Ian's. Do you mean that was a very, very 50-50 deal? I thought.
Yeah, Kewell's probably a bit more versatile, I suppose. But yeah, very, very meth deal. But Kewell has struggled there, so yeah, it's an interesting one because he looks like he should perform, and I imagine he won't be near Hodges' strongest team when he gets his players back.
Well, he's getting withdrawn at half-time for Samuel Eto'o, and Alf's making a double change. Patsazoglu's coming on for Dan Anderson. Constantinou is coming on for Samak, who had the goal disallowed. And in a sort of a throwback tribute to the former manager, Van Nistelrooy is going into attacking midfield so Constantinou can play up front.
Yeah, I think Constantinou is a bit more of a hard-working lump, isn't he? I like him; he's a good player. But Van Nistelrooy's definitely got a bit more craft.
I don't really remember him in real life. I imagine he was some kind of Georgios Samaras type, just kind of big donkey up top. You know what I mean?
What an insult.
Big donkey up front. We've kicked off the second half. The first attempt of the half went to Devils. We've now passed the hour mark, and it looks very much like Devils are on top. And there is Samuel Eto'o with the goal. And then injuring himself, celebrating Makoku is now being taken off. Well, Graveson's obviously going to be the one coming on. Do you think Van Bronckhorst will get pushed forward, right?
Sorry, mate. I was just catching up by watching the actual game on YouTube because I can't watch it. Fucking hell. Yeah, Graveson's the only option, isn't he, really? Potentially push Oliveira into central. Or even, that's all you got to do, put Oliveira in central and Graveson at DM.
Hodges confirmed that Graveson is the man coming on, so we'll just wait for confirmation whether he wants him staying in centre mid or swapping with one of the other two. But Devils taking the lead, Dimble, and definitely more dominant in the second half.
Yeah, it's kind of inevitable, isn't it? Leicester look dangerous, but you always get that feeling with Devils, and they're kind of turning the screw. I imagine if it goes as you expect, it'll be another goal or two on top of the one they've got already. Although with Graveson in centre mid, it probably they're probably not going to create too many chances.
Well, nothing else through from Hodges, so I'm guessing Graveson is staying there. We're at more or less 70 minutes, so I'll slow this one down to see if they could get back into it. I'd have said if I wanted him swapping. All right, Hodgie, I'm just checking.
Jesus, mate. Calm down, mate. Fucking
here goes Eto'o again, looking to get a second, but it goes wide. Oliveira, Henry, Kesman. Van Bronckhorst knocked over, free kick awarded. It's Dyer lining it up, but it deflects off the wall, hitting former Devil Christian Kivu. Oliveira
Stop listening to Aldred. Who the fuck is this Yorkshire cunt here? You know.
Ronaldinho coming forward now.
Inherits the best team in the league, and all of a sudden he's fucking Billy Big Bollocks. Fuck you.
Inherits, fucking a very generous word for it.
You give it to him.
Fuck, you know.
We're into the final 10 minutes. Ledesford are still coming forward looking for this equaliser. It's passes ugly now, Constantinu. Ronaldinho out to Petkov. But a good tackle. 2 minutes being added on to this one. Here's Kesman looking, and Henry deflects off the wall. It's going to be a corner. And we move into injury time. Devils coming forward again. Paredes, Gravison picking it up, and now Dyer.
Come on, Alf. Oh, God.
And there is the full-time whistle, and Devils have won this game 1-0, and definitely on performance in the second half, very much deserved it, Dimble.
Yeah, it was a good performance in the end, but let's look quite resilient, and they haven't done all season. They've often folded and conceded 3 or 4, so a few positives to take. But yeah, Devils looked the way better team.
And it was that man who, again, I said at halftime you'd mentioned him, Ryan Wes Brown picking up man of the match. Dimble said they've been resolute, and his performance just proving that. Look at his tackling there, 19 with 14-1 and 10 of them key.
Yeah, him and Paredes had shining stars in an otherwise black hole of performance. You need your big players. If you let us for, you need something from Van Nistelrooy or Ronaldinho. Otherwise, you're just going to have flat performances. Tonight was a flat performance. Couple of bright spots in Wes Brown and Paredes, but that's about it. Not really much else to write home about. How old's Taibbi now? He must be cracking on a bit.
35.
35, man. Not a bad season though.
No, definitely not. We've mentioned him a few times in recent weeks as being one of Ledesford's best players. Dimble, just as you mentioned it actually during the breakup of the game, Devils doing what Devils do, and just another solid 1-0 win.
It's impressive from the key players, and there's a couple of players that let down a little bit, but there was never any doubt in my mind that they would push on and get a goal or two. Hodges ticking it over, isn't he? He's got an amazing points tally. What was that now? At the end, is it 60 something? 62, which is, I think that's absolutely crazy to pick up that many points. Because the level of opposition is pretty good most weeks, isn't it?
Not what it used to be. But yeah.
I think the standard's gone up right now.
You're deluded, mate.
We'll see later, won't we?
You've been listening to Tato too much.
Ryan, I mentioned that Harry Kewell's been struggling in the attacking midfield position, and with Dyer and Zauri, he's not going to get the left wing back position back unless Zauri's injured. Do you think Eto's played his way into performing in the playoffs?
I think at this point in the season, Hodgie will know what his best team is, and the team he's going to put out should everyone be fit. I don't think the odd 6 from a player will worry him too much. If Hodgie's got mind that he's going to give Eto a run, then he'll give Eto a run. But I don't think that decision will be made from tonight's performance.
One thing you could see is if he does push Henry up front, because Kesman's not done much again. If Henry if Mpenza's out, Henry pushes forward, then there is a slot available, isn't there? And if Kewell's doing absolute shite, which he has been doing up there, then he might get a run. So I think in Hodges' strong team, Henry's at AMC and Mpenza's up top, isn't he?
I think he's definitely ahead of Gravison at centre midfield, Harry Kewell.
You'd imagine so, wouldn't you?
Well, congratulations to Devils on tonight's win, and good luck to them also in the playoffs. So now we move into the fixtures that people have actually come to see. And Jamie's been silently quite defiant on us saying that it's a 3-horse race because mathematically, Dragons can still finish 6th. He needs something like they need to win The other 3 all need to not win, and there needs to be something like a 10-goal swing. But mathematically, Jamie's adamant they can still do it. So this is the team he has gone with for this one. Interestingly, he's gone one at the back.
Who the fuck is Juan?
And Juan is a
Juan at the
signing
back.
that his assistant at the time made as their out-of-league signing, a Brazilian centre-half making his debut. They spent 10 million to bring him in.
Juan at the back, love it.
Juan Sheet. Yeah, that was a smut signing, wasn't it? I'm surprised to see him playing. Yeah. He looks decent. He looks okay.
Yeah, he does actually. Stats-wise, he looks decent. I mean, 20 heading, 16 tackling, 17 pace, etc. But yeah,
you didn't. I mean, going back some time, didn't you sign a lad called Chris for the old Devils team?
I did,
he was he had really good stats, but was fucking garbage.
It's usually the case, isn't it? Yeah, usually the case.
Brazilian defenders usually have good stats, but can't. I mean,
Jamie pointing out in the chat, Juan at the back.
yeah. I got to give props to Dimble for that. I think he said it literally like the second he saw it. So yeah,
Gattuso and Said in front of him. David's partnering Zidane in the middle. Raul and back supporting Cliver. I mean, although it is a 1 at the back, and it's an unknown quantity, that 1 at the back. The further forward you get, it actually looks a solid outfit from Dragons, doesn't it, Dimble?
Yeah, they've got some good players in there, haven't they? David's at that right centre mid reminds me of when they used to have the Free Dicks. I've got a sneaking suspicion this is Free Dick instigated, although they won't admit it.
They won't admit it, like they haven't admitted they've all been involved all season.
But they've got some good players. Dragons have got a top 8 squad, probably a little bit better than that. I do like a lot of the players. They've got a couple of shit ones, like Zidane in there and Juan. But in general, I do like the Dragons team. And they'll be disappointed with the season. I think. Oh, sorry, Jamie will be disappointed with his season because they've got a very good squad, and they was expecting a bounce back year after a shit year, which they got kind of 2 seasons ago. So I think they was expecting to be challenging this season.
Sorry, Ray, you were going to say something.
Oh, so what is the reason for Juan? Sorry, is it just for a bit of fun?
I think it's a mix, because the last game, obviously, that they won, they had Lucio and Ekiog as a partnership, but Lucio suspended, and then Jamie just thought, fuck it.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, he may have already come up with the pun of Juan at the back and decided that that's the way they're going to go with it.
It's Juan at the back, eh? Juan at the back.
That's not a bad impression. Let's have a look then.
I mean, he's had to get his squad number printed on his back as he's running down the tunnel there. What's going on here?
Jamie saying Zawi transfer and Constantinu going were bad moves. Sloths. Oh, Dimble's walked off. If Jamie is going to get this goal swing, Ryan, then Sloths is possibly the best possible team he could come up against, because they've conceded 4 in 4 of the last 6 games.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. As soon as Sloths come on, I usually turn off, mate. It's probably. I had very little to do with the Fulchester performance last week, but it's still an embarrassment. It's still a tarnish on my name whenever that guy wins what a fucking disgrace that is. Fucking hell, I sold Alan Shearer to them. That's just fucking. I don't want to. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to talk about it.
Just the one change for them, Dimble. Rakoba coming in for Zetterberg. You might remember he played Zetterberg on 35% last time out.
Yeah, that was a classic Super League moment for me. I loved it. Was it 3 minutes he lasted?
Yeah, he lasted 3 minutes. That's right, yeah.
And he's retiring, isn't he, as well? So what a way to go. This formation is far too open. When they've got the ball, they've just got 3 blokes stood there waiting to get onslaughted. And then he's got 2 defensive-minded midfielders in centre mid. That team on paper is atrocious. The fact he's gone anywhere and beaten someone 3-1 is amazing to me. But Rob, in my opinion, is a bit of a miracle worker. He can get goals out of anybody. It's amazing.
So
the formation that he was up against was a formation which me and Mako had a quick chat about. Mako submitted for the Northern Burn game, and it should never have been repeated in any other game. It's just the fact that Mako had a really well. We both got loads of stuff on, and we didn't get a chance to sort it out in time. So yeah, you see, it's more of a failure in our management, and you shouldn't be giving any credit to Sloths here. I'm not giving that. Do you mean?
So
no, in terms of pure goal scoring, and he obviously concedes shitloads as well. But he can get goals out of anyone. He has, and even when he's been shit, he scores goals. He draws 4-0 and loses 4-3 most weeks, but it's really good to watch.
I think he owes 50 quid to a charity of his choice, doesn't he, as well? For not finishing top 7. I don't know if anyone remembers that bet from earlier on in the season, but I definitely haven't forgot it.
They usually get forgotten, those bets, don't they?
Yeah.
Question for you both. When you see
Alvaro Raquelba is shit. That was a question.
Well, that's not my question. That's Steve's question.
But wait a minute. Zetterberg's fit. Let's fucking play him. Come on.
Put him on bench at least. Is he actually fit?
He is fit, yeah. Well, he's 87, so he's a lot fitter than he was last time out.
Feeling like a new man.
No, genuine question. Based on something Dimble said there, So Tato has very much gone with the narrative that his Aston squad is the worst, but a few people more recently have said that the Sloth squad is the worst in the Super League. Where do you both stand on this debate?
I think you've got to kind of look at the Sloth squad and think he's been in charge since day one. Anything that's in front of him here is self-imposed. He started off with some solid players in there. He spent an absolute fortune on Batistuta at one point.
Yep.
Some of the transfers he's done have been fucking mental. And that's just with Fulchester as well. I tried to rip him off at every turn. Really, that's my thing with Rob. But he is what it is. He's his own worst enemy, but he does get mad results. And he has this. The initial question: who's got the worst squad? I'd say they're very similar. I'd probably say that the Astor squad has more chance of getting a result consistently. So I'd say, yeah, that's a better squad. But I think Tato's done well to kind of bring that Astor squad back from the brink. Because I think everyone was over 33 when he first took over, weren't they? It was
something stupid like that,
yeah. But this from start to finish, Spartak's loss is all self-imposed. It's all mental. If you go to season 1 and look at that, the first game of season 1, and see what team he picked, and see, how the fuck David Collins, Tomasi, Zeriberto, Salahamovic, Desai, and Hartshaw. Compare that to now, and it's just, why did he ever sell Zeriberto? Did he fell out of him and give a bad comment or something like that? Just a mental.
There was a story about Zeriberto, because did he not sell in a year he got in or around the playoffs? And then he got injured for the playoffs and said, well, fuck it, he's not playing again anyway.
I think he just got bored of him getting injured, didn't he? I think that was it, basically. But he brought Ndiaye in, and Ndiaye's very, very good. He makes any team kind of more defensively solid. But
you say that, but look how many goals they concede.
But they already had players that could do a similar role, so it was a bit of a strange one for me.
Just briefly, Dimble, then, your thoughts on Astor Sloths, who's got the worst squad?
I would say right now it's probably Sloths edging it, but it's close. I think they're the bottom 2 in my opinion.
Okay, so we get to kick-off time then, guys. Dragons need something like a win with a 10-goal swing all in all. Ryan, what are you going for as a score prediction?
I think it'll be a 2-1 Dragons, maybe 2-0.
Well, that won't help them in the slightest. Dimble?
4-2 Dragons.
4-2 Dragons, again, won't really help them either. But let's find out if you are correct, as the first chance of the game goes to Sloths, and it's been all Sloths in the opening 7 or 8 minutes. Dragons now starting to come forward, back doing it all himself. Cliver and Raoul trying to create as well. Time flying by without any real chances of note as such. There's a volley from Dragons, but not scored. Sloths then have a couple of set pieces. Again, nothing to write home about from them. It's a penalty, though, to Dragons, and a red card for record-breaking Gamara, the man who's made the most appearances ever in a Sloth shirt. Have we seen Rob in the chat? Is he going to go?
No, he said he was pissed before watching Forest v Liverpool.
Oh, of course he was, yeah.
I think if he doesn't respond in the next 10 seconds, just do that.
Just have both teams going one at the back for a bit of excitement.
Yeah, why not? Do you mean it practically means nothing, doesn't it? I mean,
it does. It's essentially a nothing game unless you believe in miracles.
Yeah.
But it is going to be a penalty to Dragons when we resume the action.
Just crack on, mate. Come on.
Everyone loves a slow penalty, and it's Saeed with his chance on the spot, and he does score. There's the first one for Dragons. 9 to go. As we approach.
8 might do it. 8 might do it.
He might do it now. So we've got to half time, 1-0 to Dragons, and both sides have been creating chances, Dimble.
Yeah, it's just the only surprise for me is, well, probably for everyone, is that there's not been more goals. I think both teams are open pretty much. It's been a good game for pretty much a nothing game, unless Dragons can go on an absolute rampage second half.
Zidane doing what Zidane does, Ryan, and that's not a lot. Juan not exactly impressing on his debut either. But then again, he's only attempted 3 tackles, so maybe how crowded Dragons have made that midfield mean he hasn't had that much to do, really.
Potentially. Gattuso's not had a bad game. Looks like them two in defensive midfield have been relatively solid. Yeah.
They just need more from their attacking players. You look at the little involvement on the ball for Clive at back and Raul.
Don't they need something? If they want to try and... I think the idea behind this surely is to try and get a few goals out of it. To be honest, it's not look like they're going to get those goals. It's not look like the players, they need to turn up to get those goals have turned up. If I was Jamie, I'd probably be tempted to bin off Zidane at this point, because if he's on a 6 at half time, he's going to get maximum of 7.
He is actually doing that. So Morientes is coming on for Zidane, swap with Raul. So he's throwing every attacking player he's got at this just to try and get some goals.
This is, and I mean, I'm not suggesting any kind of rule change, but this is where it'd be nice if you could just, he's already gone pretty much guns out, but if you could just start swinging and you could, I'll put 3 behind or I'll put 3 up top, and the formation changes at half time, but obviously it's not realistic. But I agree with Steve. Big Hugo, massively underrated on this game. I tried to get him at Fulchester. Jamie just rebuffed any negotiations regarding Hugo, and then to see him not playing tonight is a disgrace. Even if it is for Juan at the back.
The players to retire really going out with a bang for Rob, says Jamie. Dimble, we've got the Sloth stats on the screen. Obviously, Rob isn't about at the minute to make any changes anyway, but when you see this on the screen, would you be changing much?
If you could change it all, I would. Esteban surprisingly doing well, considering the nightmares had with keepers recently, and Esteban being dog shit. Colours is a walking red card, but it doesn't really matter, does it? So I'm sure we're okay to just kind of plough on.
Didn't see you go on the pre-match pack because it looked like... Oh, fuck off, Jamie. We kick off the second half then, see if the change brings more goals for them.
Pinhole camera there. Big hole camera.
We've reached the hour mark. Still no further goals for Dragons, although there's another attempt but missed. Now Sloth's starting to come forward. Into the final 10 minutes, and it's Dragons coming forward again. Another good save by Esteban, though. Pizarro's been in good form, actually, back end of the season, to be fair to him. Clivert, Morientes, they're just not scoring between them. I mean, the keeper's on the floor. There is the second, and it's Raul who scores. His first ever for the Dragons on the final game of the season. And Clivert's been sent off. For fuck's sake.
One up top.
Carrick, Morientes, Raul. So Carrick on 4. No, fuck it. Let's put Morientes up top. Central. Let's get it over with.
bit like that, or should Back stay where he is?
Just put David in central and move Raul back forward again. As you said,
which would technically still be within the rules anyway, because
I think that's fine. Yeah.
No, you fucking.
It's one positional change, isn't it? Oh, centralisation.
I mean, Jamie will probably come. Oh, he just said one up top. Look, that's your fault, Ryan. trying to get the games over with because you want to get to the Fulchester game.
We've given him more of a chance of extending his lead, so he should be grateful.
Not only get to the Fulchester game, it's like, let's get to the interesting games and spend more time on them than the fucking 70 minutes. Be honest, and it's just fucking drivel so far, isn't
it? The man you said was shit has scored a consolation goal for Sloths.
I mean,
and there is the full-time whistle. Dragons dominated and deserved the win, but they just weren't clinical enough tonight, Dimble.
Yeah, but Rob's done it again. They've been fucking shite. They've got the worst team out I've ever seen, and they've still scored. I went fucking 40 games scoring kind of 0.7 goals per game or something like that, and he just puts out this trash and gets a goal every week. But yeah, Dragons will be disappointed. I think they deserved the 2-1 win. Let's just leave it at that.
Saeed picking up man of the match for his performance and obviously goal from penalty spot. As I mentioned, I was surprised that was Raul's first of the season. I thought he'd been a little bit better than that, but he's just always someone who seems quite low on the goal scoring charts, isn't he, Ryan?
Yes. I think the idea of Raul, said this many a time, is that you generally don't get many goals from him, but your team's generally better with him in it than not in it. Yeah, he's been pretty poor though by all standards this season. So, yeah, I agree with him. But let's move on.
As for Sloths, nothing to write home about at all, really. They, as Dimble said, they were poor. They still managed to score, but they lost again.
Yeah, loads of yellows to the people that get yellows every week, and they've nicked the goal. And there's nothing much to say, is there? Like
they need to freshen the squad up, don't they, Ryan? If there's not a redraft and it carries on for another year, they need to freshen this squad up.
He'd be very worried, won't he?
I would suggest that there's only one direction this team is going in with Rob as manager. Do you mean they can pick in they could get the odd victory? But yeah, they're going backwards. They're like a late 70s Brian Clough in charge of Forest. It's you said it's never been a relegation, but I'm pretty sure Sloths must be close to it.
Well, we're now into the 3 games that everyone has been looking forward to, and we start with Gazelles hosting Haggis Hunters. So Haggis currently find themselves in 8th, 2 points off 6th. They know they have to win to stand any chance, and Ian has gone 1 at the back to try.
What the fuck is going on tonight? Weirdos.
He has had, in fairness, some success fairly recently with this formation. Ryan Giggs, since he got brought in from Fulchester, has been in very good form. Bruno's picked up a lot lately as well, as has Torres since he returned to the 11. Can you see why he's gone for this, Dimble?
It has worked for him recently, hasn't it? And I suppose he's thinking he needs to make an impact on the match and get some goals on the board, otherwise he won't. The 0-0 or 1-1's not good enough for him, but it's not a good. It's not. I don't think it's a good formation over a long course of games. So he has done well for him, but I would be moving away from it if I was Ian. But he's not. To be fair to him, though, the 5 DMs has worked. Powell has been very good since he signed from me.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been pretty good anyway. Better than he was for me because he was absolutely junk for me. And Mendieta kind of has revelled in that role. He's done very well this season, I think. Recently he's scored a lot of goals anyway. 7 goals from a central midfield is a good return. But yeah, and the AMs for me are the weakest part of the team. But Bruno's kind of turned up recently, and Waziski hasn't been as bad as he has been previously. And again, Torres has come into the team and scored a goal, so he's got another run.
And crucially, Ryan, in a campaign where, particularly at the start, we spoke a lot about Haggis having awful luck with goalkeepers, Casillas has been widely regarded as a big game player, so this is a big game. So are you expecting him to have a good performance tonight?
Is it a big game? I don't think can you have a big game when you're playing for Haggis Hunters? I don't know. Ifs, buts, and maybes. Yeah, he got a chance, so it's a big game. He can turn up for it. He obviously man of the match in the final 1 year. Can't remember what year that was. Season 5 maybe. Just echoing Dimble's what he said. Really, nothing too much to add. Mendes, a huge fan of in that solo centre midfield role. Looks like Bruno's coming good. Signing I recommended as chair back in the day. He asked about what about that Bruno kiddie? It'll be all right eventually. He's like, man. Can you send me his stats? I was like, I can't talk about Bruno.
God. Right, let's move on and have a look at what Martin has put together. I know he's unavailable to watch tonight. He's away in some personal celebrations. But this is what he's gone with. The France 84 attack. Alexa's just started talking to me for no obvious reason. Alexa off. So he's gone with the France 84 tactic, Dimble. Mido continues to play. Giovanni's pushed up front alongside Tomadira. I think he's all but given up with Vieri now. And I think he's quite openly said, again, if there's no redraft, Vieri is very much on the market.
Interesting, yeah. I'm sure they'll have 1 or 2 offers at least. France 84 was before my team and before my time, and I'm not familiar with it. I know kind of there's a Papan and a few players, but I did beyond me. But 4 on the back's not worked for him. I don't know why he's gone back to it. I'm sure he'll be hoping to prove everyone wrong and get a result. And he'd probably take quite a bit of pride or joy in stopping Ian from making the playoffs.
They've been in decent form. Obviously last time out, Ryan, they got absolutely humped by Churchtown, but they've been in relatively good form, picking up some points. They left the run too late to be able to get off the bottom now. But do you think there's the makings of a decent squad here for Martin to move forward with potentially?
He's got some. I don't think it's one of the top squads. I think he's going to work some miracles in the market to get it into a playoff challenger. But he does have some players of value. I mean, he's got Dede, who's a Super League starter in 90% of the teams. Christian Vieri, as Dimble suggested, has some value in the market, probably as does Tomadira. Pignardi's not bad, goes under the radar. Udeze has been there in the playoffs with a solid setback. He's got a solid goalkeeper. I mean, he's got half a pizza there. But who's ordering half a pizza?
Yeah. To me, he's got.
About, in the last game, we spoke about Asta and we spoke about Sloths. Can you see why this squad finished below both of them?
No, I can. Because mismanagement early doors. No offense to the manager, no doubt he's still about. I think he was too determined to get the players he brought into the club playing, even though they were gash. And then more recently, Martin's come in. I don't think Martin's done too bad a business, but he often has a little flair for doing something that isn't the Super League norm. And the Super League norm is the Super League norm because it's relatively effective. And because Martin's so vehement in his I'm not going to do that just because everyone else does it, means that he's probably not going to win as much as everyone else does.
A score prediction then. We know Haggis need to win, Ryan. Will they get the win?
For that tactic, I think probably, the Gazelle's tactic, that is. I'd probably go with a 1-2.
1-2. And Dimble?
Same for me as well, yeah. I'll have one of them, please.
Okay, so two predictions for Haggis to win 2-1 as we kick off. Absolutely nothing happened in essentially the first 20 minutes. Gazelles are coming forward though, failed to convert their first opportunity of the game, but time is literally flying by, already past the half-hour mark with very little text commentary to speak of at all in this game. Haggis have an attempt there, but goes flying over the bar. Pinardi with a shot. 3 minutes to be added on, although I'm not really sure where they found those 3 minutes from. Gazelles do take the lead, though, with Toe Madeira's 5th goal of the campaign. Rob predicted it was going to finish 4-0 to Haggis. That's certainly not the case. The referee blows half-time, and Gazelles take the lead. Certainly not what Ian wanted to see, Ryan.
No, not what Ian wanted to see. I quite enjoyed it, though, to be honest with you. Yeah, a bit of a nothing first half. Gazelle's getting the odd goal at 3 shots on target. Yeah, no complaints from me. Yeah, I mean, when Martin watches this back, I don't think he'll be overly enthusiastic. I think he'll think he's defended well. Okoronkwo picking up a 9 there. Madeira getting in there, scoring a goal. That's what you want your strikers to do, even though he's basically not touched the ball apart from that.
Well, we don't have to spend too much time looking at their stats. Martin said just go unless there's an injury or suspension and make the change. But you're right. It's been a fairly solid defence performance, and they've done what they've done a lot in recent times and scored a goal and give themselves a chance. As for Haggis, Dimble, it's all kind of going wrong at the worst possible time.
Yeah, that is a very bad first half performance in such a crucial game. Ian will be pulling his scraggly scarecrow hair out, won't he? Looking at that, I think Takanadi's probably going to bite the bullet here and come off, I'd imagine, because although he's been involved, he's not playing well. Apart from that, he might give a change up front because Torres isn't doing much either. It might be worth it just to see if you can jolt them into life and get something going.
I mean, you say Torres isn't doing much, but look at how ineffective Bruno and Rosicky are being. He's not been given any service whatsoever.
Yeah, but you need to build a tactic that feeds those people in the forward areas, don't you?
Ian's trying to make a sub that isn't available because he hasn't named him on the bench. So, do you want Alan Smith to come on, Ian?
What is the fucking point? Why is Alessio Takinardi in here? What the fuck, man? I'm a little bit angry tonight, but Jesus Christ, Yapstam's on the bench. I'd rather played Yapstam at defensive midfield than Takinardi.
So Stephen Reed is coming on for Thomas Rosicky. We know that much. I'm just waiting on confirmation if he wants Alan Smith to come on for Torres because he's asked for Vasiliuk.
We just change Hans Jorgbut's name to Vasiliuk and bring him on as a punishment.
Double change there, confirmed at half time for Haggis. They need to turn this around. Let's see if those subs mean they can do. I also spotted the Takinardi 5. Gazelles have gone 2 up. It's Giovanni, and that's Haggis's playoff dream all but over, you feel. It's going to take one hell of an effort in this last half an hour for them to turn this around. Bruno scores. And suddenly, and it's 2-2. It's not over for Haggis yet. Mendietta's got them back in the hunt. And now they've got 20 minutes to find a winner. And Ryan's face has changed in the last 15 seconds, that's for sure. Bartes pushes it away. And thankfully, from a Gazelle's perspective, there's no one following up for the rebound.
I think there's an injury there for Gazelles, is there? Not looking at that.
Smith loses his man, but he misses the opportunity. I'm trying to watch the chat and the text commentary at the same time. I can see them all flicking comments through.
Fucking Takinardi stats class. I did that before about Anderson. He's gash. Fucking Recoba, gash.
Ian's tried to make a sub as well, but I think he's a bit too late. But I won't.
And it's Giggs and Smith. Giggs again. Haggis going to get this one last big opportunity.
Those that can't see have just seen Pfeiffer's cap fly over his shoulder and away, just like Haggis's playoff hopes.
And there's the full-time whistle. Haggis will not be challenging in the playoffs this season, as they could only manage a 2-2 draw with Gazelles. But considering the position they found themselves in, they certainly give it a good go, didn't they, Dimble?
Yeah, at least they did give it a go. And at one point, they might kind of roll and get a third and fourth, but it's very, very disappointing for Haggis. The commiserations to Ian. I think it'd have been nice to see Ian win tonight, and then the next 2 games would be even more interesting. But obviously that wasn't to be. Ian will be looking forward to a transfer window or redraft, I think.
I've got a lot of time for Ian. Do you mean? But I've got to say, and I mean, love the guy and all that, but today he's got to hold his hand up there and say, I got that wrong. Do you mean away from home against Gazelles? Do you mean one at the back, and you've got one of your top 3 players in Yapstam not even making an appearance whilst you're playing Alessio Tacchinardi? Yeah, fair enough. He's not been embarrassed because he's got 2 players there who've in Bruno and whoever the other guy was who bailed him out a little bit. But still, if he'd have gone full strength there and not dicked about, he's had a chance of getting in the playoffs, and he's fucked it. There's not 2 ways about it. He just fucked it, hasn't he? He could have won that game. And then looking at Gazelles, I mean, there's another team that who you think probably need a redraft to really be challenging. Solid performance. It Madison be happy with the point because he's let the lead slip.
Ryan Giggs, another solid performance from him. I mean, he's been borderline sensational since leaving Fulchester, hasn't he? Ryan.
Yeah, we couldn't have a player like that on our books, and Fred. We mean we've got some moral values at Fulchester. Do you mean obviously they don't share those views up in Scotland? Do you mean he's a solid player? We know that he's a solid player, but he's. Do you mean we can't have that kind of behaviour in our squad?
The subs came on and tried their best, but they just weren't able to fully turn it around in ball. The consistent inconsistencies of Haggis is ultimately what's cost them over the course of 26 games, isn't it? You never felt that they put a run together.
Yeah, I think I said it before we came on. They flashed really well. They've had kind of 3 or 4 really, really good performances this season, but they usually back it up with a bit of a wet fart of a game, and this was that. I'm afraid they've not put a sequence of results together all season. So yeah, it's disappointing for Haggis, and Gazelles have done well to get that performance with 4 at the back. I think it's a pretty good achievement in itself, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, commiserations to Haggis and their legions of fans worldwide that we will not be seeing you in the playoffs again this season. That brings us to our penultimate fixture, and we go to Fulchester entertaining Bostock Stanley. Now, we know the situation that Fulchester and Halls are both on exactly the same points. Halls currently in sixth on goal difference. There's an 8-goal difference between the 2 sides here. So, Ryan, explain to us the team you've gone with tonight.
Let's front up to this. I mean, this has been a really poor season by Fulchester standards, by Macca standards, by anything that I put my name to standards. I think that we did some good work, but ultimately ineffective work in the transfer market.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too often this season, I think the amount of time and love that people put into the Super League, too often this season, myself and Mac have got to say that we haven't really been able to put that time in, and that's shown in the results. I think we've definitely got a team there which should be in the top 6, and it should be challenging for a title, and it's our lack of time and effort really which has cost it. Now going on to tonight, it's a little bit of a free hit. Do you mean Hulls have got a home game against Churchtown? Unless we win, then it means. Do you mean it means nothing, doesn't it? Do you mean unless we could grab a draw? But I expect they're going to get at least a draw at home. So looking at that, I looked at who's available. Nicky Button available. This is the formation I've dicked around with in AFCON a little bit, and don't know if on home saves. Generally, the right-sided defender seems to have a world-class display, which is what we'll need. Shevchenko and Ronaldo have been solid this season, but unspectacular. Veron hasn't really been as effective this season as in previous seasons, so we just thought we can't afford to have another one of those games where just 40 minutes go by and we haven't touched the ball. So, yeah, let's get 4 of them up there and do you mean it might leave us exposed at time? But I've got faith in Van der Laan, and then this is just a bit of a me versus Maka thing with I'd rather the wing backs go into centre midfield, even though they're not wing backs, and probably better in right midfield, left midfield. I just think it gives the squad and the team a little bit more balance if they're playing further back. And it's ultimately it's a little bit of the Achilles heel of Fulchester is that we don't necessarily have wing backs, which means that whenever we need to switch things around, we need to mess things up a bit because things aren't going. We're generally we're stuck to playing. Do you mean on left midfield and right midfield, which limits you? C staying in there. C say better than Castillo. Maybe some weeks he is. Maybe some weeks he isn't. Castillo is going to get the nod tonight. CC might come on at half time, and we might shuffle things around. But he's not been given a chance, and I don't think any of our strikers have been prolific enough to have nailed down the spot. So Castillo gets a nod tonight.
Okay. Dimble, Bostock, Stanley. Then they already have their queue. They currently sit third. You know that if Fulchester win this, there's a chance you can finish third potentially. So let's have a look at the team Scott's gone, and he's gone narrow against Fulchester, but virtually all of the big names are still out there. You know, you got Live, Welsh, Anelka, Del Piero, Jacques, everyone you'd expect from a solid Bostock team. The only one really missing is Zé Roberto.
Yeah, it's a very capable squad, and it's Scott's kind of baby. He's nurtured a few of these players from a young age, hasn't he? And it's an impressive kind of way of going about it, to have that patience with some players and know that you kind of throw them in for a game. They might not do well, but it develops them and all that stuff. So he's played the long game. It's paying off because he's got players with very little value at the start of the save in kind of Live and Welsh. And now Live in particular is probably one of the biggest assets defensively in the league. Welsh,
You're right. He would go for a big deal if suddenly Scott said, "I would listen to offers."
Yeah, so he's developed an elite player, which a lot of managers haven't got the patience for. So he deserves the credit for that. And around that, he's got kind of very dependable players in like Silvestre and the CC. Bowie's been really, really good for him, and Jack's another one. He's developed as well. So yeah, he's gone about it in a different way to a lot of the managers, and he's obviously a very capable manager. We've seen it before. The only time he hasn't done any good is when he was pissing about the formations last season or the season before. But yeah, very capable manager. It's not a given though that squad gets into the playoffs, so he's still done a very good job to kind of secure third, in my opinion.
Absolutely. If you are a believer in history, the good news is, from a Fulchester perspective, the home team usually gets a result of some description in this fixture. Dimble, I'll ask you for a score prediction in a minute. Ryan, having seen the team, I won't ask you for a score prediction as you're representing Fulchester, but how confident are you of getting the win required? I mean, a draw might be enough depending on the Hall's result, but realistically, you want to win to give yourself the best chance.
It's an interesting one. Any other season, I'd back that Fulchester team go out there and win most weeks and get right up there. But it's not, things haven't clicked for us this season. So I mean, I'm rather than excited that we're going to get 2 or 3 or 4 goals in this game. I'm more nervous that we're going to try and scrape through at a 1-0. So yeah, as long as there's something to play for in the final game, then there we are. But yeah, answer a couple of questions on Julio Arca. Yeah, from my perspective, I like him as a player, but he often sometimes comes in and gets an 8 or he'll get an assist. But anyway, in those games where he comes in and gets an 8, Fulchester lose. Right, and it's kind of the opposite of the Raoul effect that we used to have. I mean, he'd get a 6, but we'd win. Do you mean? And if we NDIE when he was at Bostock, and I think at Hulls, where he's getting a 9 and a 10 each week. But guess what? You're losing. And for me, I'm not asked about a rating. I'm about who's in your team when you win.
Okay. Dimble, a score prediction for this one?
think I predicted an away win. After seeing the formations, I'll definitely stick to that. I think Ryan's completely got rid of my hopes of a top 3 finish.
Okay, let's kick this one off then. Good luck to Fulchester in keeping the last game interesting as well. And it's Bostock who have certainly started the game quick as they take the lead for Anelka. No, it's been ruled out for offside, but they come forward again. Fulchester, in fact, I don't normally slow it down, but as you're here, Ryan, and it matters, let's slow it down so you can actually read what's happening. Which isn't a lot, as you can see. Not a lot happening at all. But Jacques coming forward now for the away side, and they earn a corner. Buffon saves well at his feet. Here they come again, though. Fulchester not managing to get any sort of momentum going forward at the moment. Bostock not allowing it at all.
Same as it kind of suggests, it's just been shit on it.
And Jacques has an attempt, but it goes over. 4 minutes being added on. Here come Fulchester with a rare flurry forward, and they scored! And it's Castillo, his first ever goal for Fulchester, gives them the lead, and there's the half-time whistle, and that changes the landscape completely.
Hello.
Sorry?
Hello.
Let's have a look then. I mean, from my perspective, it looked like you were under the cosh a lot there, but the stats suggesting Bostock didn't create as much as it appeared, right?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be completely one direction and not the other. I didn't think there was going to be many opportunities at all, which kind of proven right. I didn't see our other opportunity. But yeah, they've only had the one target. They had the disallowed goal as well, which I don't think will count. But yeah, obviously you can't complain. I'm really, really disappointed in the performance. I thought we'd have a bit more of the ball, a bit more text. But I can't knock 1-0 half time, can I?
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll look at Bostock stats first, Dimble. Obviously, it matters slightly less to them because they've already got the cue, but they'll be wanting to go in with form and with momentum. And they'll be disappointed at this point to be 1-0 down, potentially. As Ryan pointed out, they've also had a goal disallowed, so it's not like they're being outplayed either.
Yeah, it's a disappointing first half, but Scots, I think against me, they were losing at half time. He just stuck with it, and they was absolutely rampant for the first 20 minutes of the second half. So I'm not sure if he'll change anything. If he does, it'd be interesting to see what he does do with that. But Bostock won't be bothered by the first half performance as long as they do something in the second half. In terms of Fulchester, they haven't had much of the ball, but the 1-0 up, and that makes it very, very interesting, doesn't it? The second half, very interesting.
At the end of the day, if Bostock go on a rampage in this second half and just don't score, Ryan won't care at all, and Maka won't care when he watches that either.
100%.
Scott is making a change at half time. Anelka is being withdrawn, and Robbie Keane coming on. I'd like to put Robbie Keane on in play. Yeah, okay. Let's have a look then, Ryan, at the Fulchester stats, and while you digest that and decide if you want to change anything at this point. It's actually quite solid from what I'm seeing, Dimble, largely, especially.
Those ratings are pretty good. A couple of 4.8s, 1.9. Van der Laan Spring is doing very, very well in that off the ball sweeper role. Interesting to see that working so well. I know it has done for Ryan in the AFCON games as well. It's a good performance, and the two shots doesn't do those stats justice.
So, what's your thoughts at half-time, Ryan?
As always, you're kind of looking at what people have done. Nedved, that 6 potential a little bit harsh there. He is on only 86% fitness, though. Do I potentially want to get him more into the game? Rui Costa is the one that stands out. Again, he's done more than Veron, but he's got 6 and Veron's got 7, which is interesting. So what do I do? Do I stick or twist? Really?
Wow, as a two-time winner, you know exactly what to do.
Is Biscan either-footed? Just a quick question.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
But not right only.
I'm going to go as is then.
You're going to go as is. Fair enough. We kick off the second half of this crucial penultimate game of the night. Bostock making that change. Ryan going as is. Let's see how it pans out. And an early opportunity. Keane on the rebound, fails to convert Buffon. He's been much maligned at times this season, but touch wood from a full chest perspective, looked fairly decent so far tonight. Nedved coming forward and Ronaldo is back with Nedved again. And Shevchenko hits the woodwork. Veron, but well saved by Alephopoulos. We've now reached the hour mark and it's still Fulchester in the lead. So the longer this goes on, Jens's nerves will certainly be growing as well. And chance for Bostock, but it goes over the bar. And now Bowyer coming forward on the counter-attack. Del Piero, Keane, Jacques. Saved by Buffon, but he lets it run free. Hippier manages to get it clear to Rui Costa though. And now there's 20 minutes to go and 15 minutes to go and the time's ticking away. Ryan's happy to see nothing happening at all now. He does not care as these minutes tick by. Castillo coming forward all on his own, shoots from range and manages to win a corner. Beckham swings it in, but Alephopoulos collects it. Distribution though doesn't work, and now Beckham was offside. Del Piero coming down the other end with a banana shot, but it goes into the stands. 86 now on the clock. Bowyer coming forward and Decor, but handball by Guigu. 3 minutes to be added on. And here come Bostock again. And Buffon's goal kick's picked up by Keane and Del Piero on the half volley, but well saved by Buffon as we move into injury time. And here come Forchester. Can they wrap it up in injury time? Ronaldo. Alephopoulos keeps it. And now Bostock come forward. And it's Bowyer, Sylvester and Welsh playing between themselves and live. And there is the full-time whistle. Fulchester have done all they can do. They've got a 1-0 win. And your immediate reaction, Ryan?
Got the job done, really. I would like to say that Buffon and Van der Laan had absolute stormers of the game. We got our shots in the first half, got a goal, and then just really soaked up the pressure. Exactly what you want. Van der Laan, fantastic as I expected. Fitness issues there for the wing backs. Should we make it to the playoffs? It would definitely be a rejigged 11, regardless. But yeah. I mean, if you're Scott there, you're disappointed not to get something from that game. There's no two ways about it. I'm disappointed in the Fulchester performance, but as you kind of suggested, definitely not disappointed in the result.
No, absolutely. And it's certainly not the first time this season, Dimble, that the Bostock have seemed largely on top and not come away even with a draw.
Yeah, they created a few chances, didn't they? Sometimes they can have those games where they don't create many, but they're still usually in the game. Tonight they've actually had probably 3 times the amount of chances as Fulchester and still not managed to win. So it'd be a bit worrying for Scott, but like I say, he won't panic. He'll still have faith in players like Jacks on the 6, and the CC's not let him down in a big match. So yeah, I just think very, very dangerous team and definitely got a chance of going all the way. And as for Fulchester, they've given themselves a shot now, haven't they? Anything other than a win for Jens, and they are in the 6.
Absolutely, and a solid defensive performance by Bostock. They restricted Fulchester to very few chances, and you can see there with live with his 9 rating. Sorry, Alephopoulos, I seem to mention his name a lot. He seemed to be catching a few of the set pieces and saving from shots as well. So a good defensive performance for them. But congratulations, Ryan, and on behalf of Macca as well. You've done all you can do, and now you sit back. I can't say relax, but you can sit back and watch the Halls game, knowing exactly what the situation is.
Yeah. We don't say, as you suggested, done what we can now, and hope. His second chance as Halls manager can get into the playoffs for Jens. I mean, obviously a failure first time around, getting sacked. I mean, so he's going to be a failure regardless. Do you mean this
just keep piling that pressure on?
No, I'm just saying it as do you mean he can get there? He could win tonight, and he's still going to be a failure. I just don't want that being that doesn't need to get swept under the carpet. The fact that he's got that he's managed to get a second chance, he's managed to get sacked, and then a new version of himself come into it, and that's jumped up on form.
Are you suggesting that if he was to go on and be successful, it would always have an asterisk?
100%. I mean, they're your words, but I mean, I would suggest that it'd be I'd say if they do go through tonight into the playoffs, it would be very much like the Max Verstappen Formula One Championship victory. As in, do you mean, well, would you have done it without outside interference? Probably not.
Well, let's move on to tonight's main event. And Dimble, credit to you. You mentioned it earlier. No, you considered you weighed up the pros and cons. You knew you already had your cue, but knowing that your game mattered, you've gone very strong tonight.
Yeah, there is 3 or 4 tweaks in terms of personnel, but it's the same tactic I played last week. I wanted to give a couple of games a couple of players a run out, and Chadwick would have played on the right, but he was injured, so Davis comes in, which is a bit of a strange one, but I think he can do a good job out there. Very hard working, which then allowed me to put Riquelme in the middle, I think, instead of Van Bommel. And I've not dropped Van Bommel, but he's kind of taken that with that in mind. I don't want to be too workmanlike in the middle. And then, Salas and the AMC role, I'm just interested to see how he does there, because I think he's got potential to do okay there. Hussein's obviously not going to get dropped because he's available at the minute. So that's my thinking. The only other change is Xavier comes in. He's not played yet, but Babel's done not great. Same situation with Terry, where him and Vialli are both on yellows. I don't want both of them missing at the same time if I can avoid it. So that's the reason behind that.
And you mentioned Salas there. It can't go without saying that the 3 that you've got in those attacking positions, we were saying before we lifted the mics up and went live, all 3 of them, but particularly Brujink and Hussein in recent weeks have been in incredible form these last sort of 8-9 games. Yeah,
it's transformed me, because if you look at all the Swan stats previously, it's always been, I've been bottom for shots on target, all that type of stuff. And if you look at the shots on target player stats now, Brujink and Hussein were at the top, and Salas came in and kind of jolted us into life in those couple of games where he started. And I'm very happy. If Salas needs to come in, I'm very happy to put him in. But like I say, Hussein's been absolutely unplayable when he's been given the chance recently. So yeah, there's no way that he's coming out of the team if I can avoid it.
Last time out, as we saw earlier, you had that massive win over Gazelles, which cemented your queue. Again, we spoke in the intro about what it meant to you to actually get there, and then there's just a quick overview at the form we were just referring to then. Hulls traditionally have a decent record against Churchtown, but in the reverse fixture earlier this season, you did win 3-0. Was that their first games where Salas and Brujink both came in and scored?
I think it was the second. I think Gazelles was the debut. That was the second game. It was the first time I played him in that formation, okay. And we looked on fire that night. Didn't play particularly well. The chances we created went in, which was like, as well, I was saying, it's the biggest difference is kind of those shots on target. If we had 8 shots on target, we've been getting most of them on target instead of kind of 8 shots, 2 on target, which was a very common theme to the early Churchtown days under me.
Jens is already predicting that you will win 2-0. Ryan, a look at the Hulls team. They've kept the narrow formation that they've been playing recently. An alteration they have made. Agat's come in this sort of right DM with the arrow. Vogel's moved forward again into centre midfield, where he's been quite productive for the most part of the season. And it was mentioned earlier with regards to teams playing 2 up top. But since the change of management, this Crespo-Viduka partnership has been very good.
Yes, yeah. They're a changed team. Crespo 13 in 23, playing for the new manager. Viduka as well. I didn't realise it was 8, but yeah, 6 last time out. Narrow formation as well. Interesting that you don't think Agat can play centrally when you look at the editor. And yeah, I think Gerard's particularly good at centre midfield when you look at the editor. But however, he's done all right for them in a Hull shit. Scott was just massively on top against me with a narrow formation. I think if he was at home that last game, he'd have won. No, he's at home with this. He's got 2 strikers who can score goals. He's got 2 rock solid centre backs, solid-ish goalkeeper. I want to say I'm confident, but I don't think I am really. I think it's obviously a big Churchtown fan. Always have been, always will be. Hope they get the job done tonight, but I can probably see. I don't know. Let's just go for it. Let's get Churchtown 2-1 win.
Okay, and Dimble, I'm not again. You don't have to predict a score if you don't want to, but having seen the Halls team, how confident are you tonight?
Yeah, just echo what Ryan says. The narrow at home, I think they will create chances. It's just whether we can kind of hang on and then kind of make our own chances. I'm not overly confident, if I'm being honest, but I'm hoping for Ryan's sake that I get a draw. But I wouldn't begrudge Jens a place in the playoffs, even though he has effectively added manager.
Yeah, Abel Xavier is the worry for me. I mean, I understand why you've done it. Yeah, I'd rather a bag of sand at the back than Abel Xavier, but
well, if I had a bag of sand, I might have played him. But
well, we've kicked off the final game of the evening. We'll play this one on fast speed as well. It was Churchtown who had the first attempt of the game. Vogel and Campbell Candea all playing with the ball now. Viduka getting involved, but Khan, who will probably make team of the season for goalkeeper. He's been sensational for Churchtown this year. Foul by Tomazi and Malewski. Candea lines it up.
Should have gone and got my Churchtown top for this.
Gerard goes close with a header, but it's well saved again by Khan. 20 minutes now pass, and so far so good for Fulchester.
We are massive.
But Viduka has scored. Oh, it's been disallowed. Brozek strayed fractionally offside. Jens is calling for VAR.
Probably one of the best refs in the league, this guy. Veracini, big fan of his.
Riquelme and Donny, but Campbell manages to clear. Half an hour now on the clock, still 0-0. And time ticking away already, it feels like, for Halls. A long way to go yet, of course, but the longer it stays like this, the more nervous Jens will be. Crespo strays into an offside position this time. Lots of offsides.
Come on, Churchtown. Let's create something here, lads.
2 minutes to be added on at the end of this first half. There's Mendes de Silva for 35. And Hussein. Donny Riquelme loses a man. Let's go. But it's gone over. And it looks like there might be an injury to Davis, which Dimble will be reviewing at half-time. There is half-time. And it is 0-0. Halls looked on top, Ryan, but failing to legally convert.
Yeah. Can't necessarily disagree with that. Didn't at any point really feel like they were kicking the barn door down really, no. But yeah, they definitely had the better of it. 11 free kicks. I mean, that's a bit of a war of attrition. Just one shot on target. Jens will be concerned about that. Getting a bit nervous now that it might all go tits up. But do you mean? I don't think he'll twitch. Do you mean? I think a lesser experienced manager might do something drastic here and change the strikers around and what have you, but I think he'll stick with it and he'll probably get there in the end.
The thing is that the players will start to feel the nerves now because the fans will all have their Walkmans and stuff in their ears and they will know that Fulchester effectively have taken the lead at this point and are 1-0 up. Jens said there, the ref letting us down again, story of our lives, unfortunately. Let's click over then. Dimble, let's have a review of your side's performance. Fairly good defensively, but not quite at your best from an attacking perspective yet.
No, and Davis on 27% as well. So are we taking him off? We've been resolute, haven't we? But it's been pretty shocking going forward. Nothing much. Stanic? Yeah, and I'll have Agahauer for Brugging as well. The plan was always to bring Brugging Cock. He's on a yellow card away from a suspension, so that was always the plan. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Let's go with that.
Okay, and Jens is going as is. So for the final time of the regular season, we kick off the second half of the game. Halls need a goal or it will be Fulchester in the massive. Come on, the massive is the chant from the studio. Goes out for throwing. The first 5 minutes elapsed and Churchtown certainly started this second half the strongest. Here comes Crespo shooting from distance. It goes wide. And we are...
Has anyone ever gone men behind ball in the player instructions in the
game? We've reached the hour mark, still 0-0, and it's just getting more and more nervy. If you are a Halls fan, can they get this goal that they so desperately need? And Crespo must score. Crespo has scored. And now, can they hold on to their playoff place? Churchtown need to score to let Fulchester back in. They come forward and they get a corner. Donny swings in, but Candea clears. And Halls retain possession. Including adding on time, there's about 20 minutes left for Churchtown to save Fulchester's season. But it's Halls creating another attempt there. Brozek, I believe it was. Viduka brings it down this time. And Brozek picks it up. Greaves is saying it doesn't work, Ryan. He's tried it. And Crespo scored, and that must be it. Halls. Oh, it's been disallowed again.
Ooh.
And it's not over yet.
What doesn't work?
I'm guessing men behind ball.
Oh, yeah.
Agahawa come forward.
Come on,
Hussein.
just have a chance at least.
Desperation in the studio.
It's fucking...
And a Gat runs onto it, but he's offside. Time ticking away, and now it'll be Jens that's happy seeing the minutes ticking by. There's no blue and white text at all, other than Khan saving. 5 minutes left, plus 3 to be added on. Here come Churchtown. It's Hussein. Salas holds it up. And Hussein coming forward. And it falls to Hussein. Oh, and Agahawa. How's it not gone in? Ryan's got his head in his hands. Dimble's got his head in his hands. I've got my head in my hands. How has it not gone in? And here comes Crespo, the other side of Candea. And there's the full-time whistle. And congratulations to Halls Vikings. They've made the playoffs. A sporting round of applause from Ryan. Dimble, however, looks away in absolute disgust. Congratulations to Halls Vikings. It was a massive effort. Wow, indeed, Duggan. Wow, indeed. I mean, Halls were very much on top, Ryan, in that second half.
Well, yeah, not really much I can say about that. Yeah,
I can see the disappointment in your face.
Yeah, it looks like Churchtown. Didn't really have the best performance tonight. Obviously, missing Abu-Zavi at the back is a tough one. Missing Van Bommel as well, but obviously I'm appreciative that Dimmel put out a strong team. Hulls obviously put the best 11 out. I think the referee did a good job despite a lot of the home pressure. Probably that last one was a bit of, that Crespo goal should never have stood. I think he's bottled it there after getting the other two right. But do you mean that's what we expect, isn't it? When you go to Norway, you expect pressure from the home fans.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I'm just seeing Yen's immediate comments saying, thanks, lads, against 12 men as well. So he seems to think the officiating was against him, perhaps because of the 2 disallowed goals. Let's have a look.
What was that? Look at the Agahoa chance, man. That fucking... what the fuck? That was surely that were over the line, surely.
It was very late, wasn't it?
I've worked out when you put it on fast, we can see 1 in every 2 commentary lines. When you put it on very fast, we can see about 1 in 6. We did miss when he put it over the bar. I don't know if you saw it, Ryan. I didn't see it. I saw it fell to Agahawa, then nothing.
So Hussein had a shot first, then he followed up, and then Agahawa was first to the rebound, but the keeper smothered the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's got away with one there, hasn't he? He shouldn't have a job. No, he's got away with one there. So, congratulations to Jens. He knows I love him. But yeah, you've stolen one there, mate. I'm afraid.
Crespo's good end of season form continues. He gets man of the match for his performance and good. I mean, good stats all round. It was a very good performance by Halls all round. If you take the frustration out of it, Ryan. You look at the match stats and then the individual player ratings, and clearly Halls have done very well tonight.
I think. Do you mean they've? I think they've bought the referee. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say here, mate. Is that they've definitely been given unfair. Every time that Churchtown came forward, the referee blew his whistle. Churchtown obviously getting everything going though, apart from obviously he has to blow the whistle when Jimmy Asablow whistle when he's 6 yards offside for the goal. Anyway, I mean, yeah. If you're looking at those stats on screen, right, which evidently you are, then Hulls have had a decent game. If you're looking at the text, which evidently you are, then they've had a decent game. If
you look at it from a full chest perspective, then
it's a disgrace, yeah, because he shouldn't have a job.
Dimble, let's come to you. Obviously, not the way you wanted to see in the playoffs on a defeat. You've got the injury concern already to Davis, although he perhaps wasn't a guaranteed first team starter in the playoffs anyway. But it's just kind of a release of the pressure because you had been going in really good form.
I'm not that bothered. It's quite funny to see Ryan get knocked out and see his little face. No, I'm disappointed with the performance more than anything. I was hoping for a performance. The result wasn't particularly a concern, but yeah, to see Tomasi on a 6 and Hussein on a 6 and Salas on a 6, Ruggick on a 6, yeah, it's disappointing. It is. Xavier obviously played really, really well as long as the ball was on the floor. He's done fuck all in the air, look, against fucking Viduka and Crespo, so that's probably why they were running riot. Yeah, it's disappointing, but it doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter for me, and I'm happy to see Jens in the playoffs.
Well, congratulations to Jens. I know what a big achievement it was from where they were earlier in the campaign. That concludes tonight's action, and that concludes the regular season. So a quick review then. We had Astor 3, Northern Burn 3, Dragons 2, Sloths 1, Fulchester 1, Bostock 0, Gazelles 2, Haggis 2, Hulls 1, Churchtown 0, Leddersford 0, Devils 1, and Loco Boston 1, Dudley Hill 1. And that means stage league. That means the table finishes like this. Devils first on 62 points, which I believe we confirmed was a new record. Dudley Hill finishing second. Bostock then finishing third on 41. Northern Burn 439. Churchtown in fifth. And Hulls claiming the all-important sixth space on goal difference. Gazelles confirmed finishing last, 5 points adrift of Sloths. And then Astor 12th, Loco 11th, Leddersford 10th. Haggis, Dragons and Fulchester all just missing out on the final day of the season. GT o'clock. Let's have a look then at the playoff games. So we have Bostock Stanley against Hulls Vikings and Northern Burn against Churchtown. You already briefly mentioned it, Dimble, but not the ideal playoff game for you.
No, they're all tough, aren't they? Apart from maybe Hulls could sneak in there. You might see them a bit weaker, but they've just beaten me, haven't they? And so he just proves that every game's going to be tough. Burn are on bad form, so it gives me a glimmer of hope. But the reality is that they'll probably kind of hit some kind of form, and it'll be very, very difficult for us. What's the time difference in game, please, for the games?
So today is the 3rd of April in game. The first leg is played on Wednesday the 13th, and then the second leg is Friday the 15th.
2 days later, yeah.
Yeah. With the Devils Dudley game then being played on Saturday 16th, and their second leg played on the 23rd. Obviously, there'll be another game for two of these teams in between that as well. So that means then, just thinking out loud as I do this, Thursday we will play these two fixtures. I say Sunday. I may try, if I can, I will squeeze in one in between, because I know people like to get the playoffs hitting the ground running. But if not, Sunday it will be Devils Dudley first leg plus the second leg of these fixtures played as well. The rest of the schedule will be confirmed as I can work out how quickly I can get it all done for you. Congratulations to the 6 teams that have made the playoffs. It's sure to be an entertaining playoff campaign, as it always is. Obviously, you're involved, Dimble, so I don't necessarily want you to answer this because you should really be backing yourself. But Ryan, now that you can be a neutral, of the 6, are you thinking Devils to win it?
I mean,
Or
They're the bookies' favourite, aren't they? Obviously, massive congratulations to all six, especially chuffed for Dimble, Jens, and Steve, obviously getting into the six for the first time. No mean feat. So, yeah, congratulations to them, lad. So, the bookies are behind Devils, aren't they? Let's be honest. But I'm secretly hoping one of those three can get the job done. Yeah.
And you know the history as well. So if anything, it would support perhaps Dudley winning it. But do you think, looking at the 4 teams on screen, Ryan, we might finally get someone outside of the top 2 win it?
It's a Super League, isn't it? You mean any of the? I mean, not any of the. But I'd say there's 10 teams in this league who could potentially put a run together, finish in the top 6 or finish in the top 2, and get to the final. I mean, there's like, I'm not going to say that Astor or Sloths or Gazelles that could do that, but pretty much any of the other teams can. I'm definitely, especially saying that, looking at Hools now. I know I've been joking about it a minute ago, but Hools, with the players a little bit more happier. I think in Bostock have made some really good signings in the summer and have had a really strong season. Dudley Hill, you can't shake your head at their form. You can't shake your head at Lucatoni. Dimble back to full strength. He's beaten Devils twice this season. You could make a case for any of those teams to really go. And obviously, sorry, I forgot to say Northern Burn, been there, done that, and have the T-shirt with the star on it. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's going to be always tougher for those outside the 2. If you had to nail me down on one outside the 2, it's probably going to be Hools because they're in good form. Yeah, but apart from that, it's anyone's game.
I appreciate that. That's a very concise answer to the question. Dimble, how optimistic are you? I know Burn, as you've already said there, it is a very tough draw, but how optimistic are you of making a real fist of the playoffs? Now that you've made it, it's kind of, you've got nothing to lose, surely.
I'm optimistic in the fact that I'm happy with my players now, and I know I've got it in me to beat these teams. So yeah, I've got a chance, and yeah, like Ryan said, I've got a couple of key players to come back in, which will makes all the difference for a team like mine, where it's you build that 11 and you still got a few ropey players hanging around that need to do a job from time to time. But yeah, I'm not relishing the fact that I need to play against Sigalko and Totti and Robin and Vieira and Keane. So yeah, it's going to be tough, very tough.
No, absolutely. Well, I wish you the very best, of course. And Ryan, commiserations, Fulchester didn't make it for you and Macca, but I'm sure that both of you will come back stronger. The last thing I need to do
before you set off on that, I know I've been doing less and less over the thing. In terms of being involved with a team, I'm probably going to step back out of the Fulchester picture. I know Mac is going to make a decision on his future in the next couple of weeks, kind of thing. But whether he's got it in, because I think if history shows, it's the guys who put the time and effort into it, and the guys who are in the chat on every show, and they're the guys who really benefit from it. And it's not right for anyone to just be a passenger and getting in teams in late and going same again because they don't have a chance to him. So I'm not particularly happy with myself being involved in that. So I'm taking a step back. I mean, look at them league positions there, by the way. Right. Who's have finished 15th? I didn't even know. So yeah, I'll stay about the league and I'll stay a big fan of the league and the managers in it. I think clash you all as friends and all that, but I won't be a part of any team going forward. So yeah, I wish you all luck in the future, and I'll let you crack on with your announcement, Fifey.
Well, no, it kind of leads nicely in from that, and obviously we do hope you do stick around, and if your personal situation allows sometime in the future, then you are involved again significantly, when you can be. People have been asking, and I said after game 26 I would announce what was happening with regards to redraft, transfers, etc. I've taken a view on it that taking everyone's feedback into consideration, both in terms of how I've done it running it and where they think the save is going, I've probably got one more season of running it before I don't do it anymore, potentially. So with a view to that, I'm going to keep this save going for one more year, so that should someone else take over next season, they get it all fresh, and it's theirs. So as such, I'm going to say every team again will be allowed 5 players in, plus a loan, plus an out of the league if they want to stroke Kangs. I know a lot of teams have already filled up their quota of foreigners, so to speak. But that will be the view. Every team will get that. Now, I know that there was 2 potentially free managers considering whether to carry on or not. And should that be the case, that those managers come to me before the end of the playoffs, because no transfers will get ratified before that time anyway. If any manager is considering leaving, if they can let me know before the end of the playoffs so I can install new managers in time, I will then look to see how I can maybe give them additional transfers to make the squad their own where possible. But that's the view. Everyone will get 5 players in again, plus a loan, plus an out of league, and we go from there. So I hope everyone thinks that's fair.
Yeah, fully back you, mate. It's your beast, isn't it? And I appreciate all the time you put into it as well. Just, I know it goes without saying, really, but if we don't say it, then you might just think we're ungrateful bastards. So we appreciate everything that we.
No, I know.
Church are going stronger, so I'm happy as well.
I know for the most part, everyone's very appreciative of the work that I'm doing now, which is only, to be fair, it's only a carry on from what Ryan did before me and Martin before him. So, they're still as much to thank as I am for anything going on. And I still, as I've said before, I still hold Ryan very much as the best overlord of the Super League has ever had. So if he's not involved in a team, then he's always I'm always willing to take his advice on all things Super League. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything else to say. Congratulations again, Dimble. Commiserations, Ryan and Macca. Well done to everyone in the top 6. And we start the playoffs on Thursday. So unless you 2 have anything else to add.
Viva the Super League.
Viva the Super League, indeed.
Yeah, and just congratulations again to the qualifiers, and especially Jens after putting up with me having a go off of it. But yes, to it. Yeah, you've been a great shepherd of the Super League 5 here, and long may it continue. Yeah,
I'm sure it'll continue long after me. Don't worry about that. But from me, from Ryan, from Dimble, until Thursday and the playoffs, it's good night from Super League HQ.